seen or witnessed before. Joining me now is Shadow Minister for Education, Julian Leeser. Julian, great to see you. Look, what do you make of these astonishing events over the past 24 hours?
Well, they are astonishing, Sharri, and what we're seeing now is Iran isolating itself even more than it was before. We know Iran has been attacking Israel for years with ballistic missiles and through its proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah. But what we've seen over the last few days, we've seen the regional and Islamic foreign ministers meeting in Riyadh, and at the same time Iran striking Saudi Arabia, and the Saudi and Arabian foreign minister saying they'll put themselves on a war footing. You've got Iran striking Qatar. You've got Iran sending its proxy Hezbollah into Kuwait to commit terrorist acts, and the Kuwaitis apprehended these actors before they committed those acts. But what you're seeing is Iran being a more and more isolated country as more and more Middle Eastern countries are drawn into this conflict against Iran, because they can see the way that Iran is lashing out is causing great instability in the region.
Just turning to the price of oil, now above 110, 111 US dollars a barrel. It is going up and down, but if it keeps climbing from here, how quickly does this become a much larger economic problem globally?
Well, obviously, when the price of oil goes up, that does have broader economic effects. And it's the reason why we have been asking questions in the Parliament about what the Australian government has been doing to prepare Australia for such oil shocks. This was entirely foreseeable. But what did the government do last week? They blamed Australians for buying petrol at the petrol pump. They said there was nothing to see here. And now this week, they say this is a full-blown crisis. I mean, this is a government that is supposed to be there to look after our interests, is supposed to be there to prepare us for actions like this, and yet again they've been asleep at the wheel.
What's your opinion on whether the Allies, including Australia, should help protect international shipping in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I think the important thing to say first is that we are already assisting our allies there in sending non-offensive military hardware, such as the wedge-tail surveillance aircraft. But as to whether we can send naval ships to the conflict over there, I mean, I think you need to ask which ships, what else could they be used for, and importantly, are they able to defend themselves against modern warfare attacks like drones and missiles? You remember when the Biden administration was in and they requested our help in the Red Sea, we didn't send people there, and that's because our government, the Albanese government, has failed to adequately invest in defence infrastructure. And it's why we've been calling on the government to lift its spending on defence to ensure that we're properly able to defend ourselves and participate in other actions.
So our military equipment might not be up to the task, but what do you think morally about, or the moral imperative of standing with the United States and Israel to help keep the shipping lane open, you know, not even taking offensive action in the war, just protecting the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I think what we've got to do is consider any request from the United States to be involved in this war, and consider it on the basis of our own national interest. Of course, we're a country that shares the values of America and Israel, and that's something that we in the coalition have been very, very strong on. But as to whether we are actually capable of doing so, we need to assess that based on our military capabilities.
Just turning to another topic, there's a new poll by Fox and Hedgehog that's found 59% of first-generation Australians want fewer migrants, and 58% of Australians overall back a modest or significant cut to the intake. This is in the Telegraph today. This concern about immigration seems to be driving the support for One Nation, Julian. So, you know, is this arising from the tough economic times we're facing, or do you think it's also partly to do with the terror attack in Bondi?
This is arising because the government has completely lost control of our migration program, and the Australian people know it. I mean, the government has not met a single migration target it's set. It's gone well over those targets, and today in the Treasurer's economic update, he forecasted that there will be more migration to come. So Australians are trying to live in their cities and seeing infrastructure burdened by a lack of proper investment, and at the same time we're bringing more and more people to this country. So when the public has lost confidence in the government's ability to manage the migration program, that's the key issue.
And I mean, related to this, One Nation is just soaring in support. There was a poll this week showing it's got 23% primary vote in New South Wales, and it's sitting just 2 points behind the coalition. We're expecting to see One Nation do very well on the weekend at the South Australian state election. Julian, do you think it's possible it does become, at least in the SA state election, the second major political party after Labor?
Well, Sharri, we've all read polls that predicted one thing and you saw a very different election outcome. So let's wait till the weekend. But more broadly, we've got to be focused on convincing Australians that we as the coalition are the right alternative for the country to restore our prosperity and protect our way of life. And that's what Angus Taylor and our team are focused on in terms of our policy suite. And that's what we're going to be focused on from now until election day.
Question with complete no notice, and if you're watching my show, you will know what I'm potentially going to ask you, but Matt Canavan was just on a moment ago, and he said that we should now be drilling in the Great Australian Bight so that Australia can become self-sufficient when it comes to oil production and fuel. I'm not sure if you saw his comments or not. This has just been on my show in the past half hour. But, you know, what's your reaction to an idea like that? Do you think that is something that should be examined?
I'm sorry, Sharri, I didn't have the opportunity to see Matt's comments. But I think obviously we are in a process of policy development, and if we go down that path, we will be putting together a policy that's developed in the usual way with broad consultation and ensuring that we balance both our economic and our environmental needs in one of the most significant spots in the country.
Right. Well, I'm not sure that policy development's happening because Matt Canavan said on the show that he's going to stand up and announce it tomorrow. So there you go. Look, I'm not critical of it. It needs to do something to win back support. So there you go. Julian Leeser, thanks so much for your time.